You remind me of something that this comes up often just around using design conditions versus changing the design conditions, whether it's indoor conditions or outdoor conditions. Will you just say that one more time? When should we be changing those, if ever?
Never, never, absolutely ever, never.
That's right. Awesome. And yeah, I can't tell you quite often there are folks out there that are like the homeowner says they like to have their thermostat at 72 degrees in the summertime. And therefore, shouldn't I be changing the indoor design conditions to be 72 degrees, not 75, which is the standard for manual J? So, what do you tell to a contractor who might be have learned that or thinking that's what they should be doing, or they're hearing this from the homeowner and they want to show the homeowner that they understand how they live in their home, but how do you explain it? It's like when you're doing load calcs, it's a different process. It isn't necessarily about where your thermostat is set per se.
So I'm just gonna probably regurgitate some of the stuff I've heard from people that are a lot smarter than me. But if you think about it, the design conditions are 1% of the summer, which is what, roughly 80 hours a year. And so the rest of the time it's oversized. So the 99% of the time you'll be able to hit 72 degrees, no problem whatsoever. And then also when you look at the worst case scenario on that 1% design day, the warmest time and the most time you have the heat gain coming through a house is usually at the end of the day when the sun's going down, it's all shining on the side of the house. It takes time for that heat to transfer through the walls. So at that point, it's not as hot outside as it was earlier in the day. So now if you look at the performance data for equipment, the cooler it is outside, the more output your heat pump or condenser will have in cooling mode. So now the sun's starting to set, it's getting a little cooler outside. So you have like backup capacity, even that. In my experience with heating or cooling, even if you're at or above design conditions, if you did a fairly good job of your load calc, you could push the thermostat a little bit. It's not like you're set in stone at that number. There's a lot of rounding in manual J too. There's some hidden BTUs in there.
All right. I love that. So don't mess with design conditions. They're there for a reason. Yeah, there's a lot of thought that's gone into manual J, manual S for that matter.
Add one other thing to that. I remember something that Ed Janowak said to me is if a homeowner questions the indoor design temperatures and your sizing, he said something along the lines of, "I could make you mad at me of one of two ways, and one's gonna be worse than the other." He's maybe the 1% of the year or less than 1% of the year, you're not gonna be able to maintain temperature at your set point in your house. You might slip 1 or 2 degrees. You might be irritated with me at those times. Or I could install an oversized piece of equipment in your house, and you could start getting mold developing on walls and moisture issues and high humidity in that, and you're gonna be more likely to be irritated with me, and you're gonna damage property and everything else. So I'd rather you be mad at me 1% of the time versus the whole summer, right?
Nice. That's great.
Ed Janimike has a way with words. That's
I did
awesome.
a poor job of quoting him, I'll tell you that, but
It's good. It was really
Yeah,
good.
no, it's great.
And way to go. That is one of Eric's favorite soapboxes for Manual J, design conditions. So that was awesome. Eric is very happy right now.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.